Hello, great YouTubers, welcome back. In our previous tutorial, we looked at Introduction to CODESYS. In this part, I'll introduce you to timers in CODESYS. Let's get started. Kindly subscribe if you've not done that already, and also press on the notification bell. This way, you'll always be notified whenever I upload new videos. Okay, to start with timers in CODESYS, let's now open the CODESYS software. I click on CODESYS. Great, we have the interface opened. We can see our recent projects located here. We have two of them in my case. You can also open the recent project by coming to this section or also using the Open Project tab. Now let me double click on this to open our previous project. Okay, this is our previous project, a simple direct online. If you come to this section, we have two timers, the T on timer, and then we have the T off timer. In this tutorial, we'll be making use of the T on timer. Okay, this is the demonstration where we need to fill a pre-bin hopper with material from the main hopper. So we have BC01 up to 04 that are supposed to start in sequence. So BC01 starts first, 3 seconds delay, BC02 will follow, BC03, and then finally BC04. Now to demonstrate this, let's modify our previous code a bit. I'll change the pump to command because this is the command that will start our process. I change this section also to command and then the hold on section too as well. Great. Now if I select this section and then I click on add new network, we can see that it is inserted at the top. I undo and then I want to select or insert the network at the bottom. In this case, I don't need to select anything. You just click on it and we can see it's there. Okay, I add a normally open contact and then assign the command to this section because this is the bit that is going to start the first timer to start the second conveyor. Okay, I add the timer to it. You can give the timer a name, any variable name you want. In this case, let me just assign BC02 to it. And then I click OK. You can give it a comment. I click OK. Great. Now we have the timer here. I can decide to assign the call to the queue out of the timer, just like this one. Great. There is another way you can do this. Okay, so I delete this section and then I'll add a branch. So I'll insert a branch here and then I'll add the timer back again. Okay, and now give the timer a preset time, saying T hash 3 seconds. And then I don't need the count value, so I delete this section. And then this is my queue out that we'll use to drive the next logic. Okay, so I add a call to this section so that when this timer comes on, BC02 can be activated. I click on OK to create this new variable. Okay, great. Now let's try the other section or the other way of using this timer. I add a call here and then I assign the timer kill not to this section. To do that, I use the timer name. Let me change the name to a meaningful timer name. So I'll change it to T1. That is our timer 1. And then I click on OK. And then let me clean up the variable a bit. Let me delete this BC02 timer. And then reposition the variables. Okay, great. Now I'll delete this section as well. and then assign the BC02 to the square. Okay, I click on OK. And now let me clean up once again. Let me delete this BC02 underscore C. Okay, and now assign the timer queue out here. To do this, I say T1 dot, and we can see it gives you an option. I select the queue out, and this is how you can assign or make use of the timer. Okay, great. Now let's build, test our code, and I go to online and then turn on the simulator. Go online again and then log on, or sorry, log in, and then I click on yes. I'm now logged in, and then I click on the run to start the PLC. Okay, this is my start page button. I double click on it, and then I click on Ctrl F7 to activate it, and we can see the timer is timing. And immediately 3 seconds elapse, the output is now on. And now try and turn the system off by activating the stop. I click on F7, Ctrl F7, and we can see that the conveyors have stopped. And now go on online and then log out. Go online again, stop the simulator. And then we can add new logic. Let me rearrange this logic a bit. Let me put the timer directly here to make it much easier. And now delete this section. And now BC01 is supposed to start BC02. So I put its output here to start the timer and then turn on BC02 after 3 seconds. I add extra networks. And now to make life easy, I highlight these elements and then copy them to this network. Okay, so I copy, paste this one, paste the next one for the next conveyor, and I'll paste the final one. Okay, I change this timer name to T2. I click OK, change the next one to T3, and then the final one to T4. Okay, I now change, this is BC03. Okay, I didn't notice that this section is not needed. I delete this section. And then I have BC01, BC02, here is BC03. And then here is BC04. I click OK for the BC03. And then BC04. And then I click OK as well. Okay. Now these are the signals to start the timers. So this will be started by BC02. This section will be started by BC03. Okay, great. Now when this one comes on, it starts BC01 directly. And then after 3 seconds delay, ST1 also comes on and then start BC02. After 3 seconds delay, T2 also come on, and finally BC04 will come on. Great. Now let's compile to generate code. Okay, we can see our message 0 error, 0 warnings. I can now go online and then turn on the simulator. Simulator is on. I now go online again and log in. I click on OK for this message. And now let me try to start the process. So this is the stop. I turn off the start, control F7, and then double click here too as well, and then turn on the stop, control F7, and now I activate the process again. Click on this to true, control F7, but we can see nothing happen. Why is this happening? Because I've not turned on the PLC. So I come here and then click on run. You can see the PLC is running now. First timer is on, second timer is on, and then the final timer also on to bring PC04 working perfectly. And I'll go to the stop and then turn off the stop, and then the process stops. Great. And now turn on the release the stop push button, and we can see that started again because the start was already active. And we can see the timers following and starting sequentially. Great. So we can see that with the on delay timer, whenever the input receives signal, that is from logic 0 to logic 1, the preset time starts counting down, and then when the preset time elapses, the output queue comes on to drive any logic that is connected to this very output. In our next tutorial, we'll look at the off delay timer. See you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.